Vegas, and it's Rose Steigerwald. And this is the first call for our high percent Kiania, Gwyneth Souder and Addison Moran. Please make your way to the ring. The first call for Chase McAllister, low percent Kiania, Tatum Rhodes, low percent Kiania, and Tatum Rhodes, low percent Kiania.
Well, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be back in here for the cattle show. Really excited to sort through high-quality cattle, but even more importantly, high-quality showmen and kiddos out here exhibiting their hard work in their projects. We're going to start off the female show with a really nice single-entry Angus heifer, ultra-feminine up front, really level in her top line. We set her into motion. That's probably where we like her the best. She's a long-tracking heifer, really sound and comfortable on her lower joints. She's maybe a little bit longer-toed than ideal, but I think if we're really going to change her, maybe we could open her up in her rib cage, clean her up in her chest just ever so slightly. But I love her femininity. I love her look from the side. I like her soundness when we set her in motion. If you would, let's continue to applaud all of our entries that come into the ring tonight, starting with this young lady.
Now entering the ring is Tavon Taylor with his junior Charolais calf. Second call for our high percent Kiania, Gwyneth Souder, Addison Moran. Second call for our low percent Kiania, Chase McAllister, Tatum Rhodes, and Tatum Rhodes.
Another really nice single entry out here that could stand a lot more competition. Really powerful heifer. When you study her out of the backside of her shoulder, she's got a lot of width and spread down her top, powerful from behind. We look at her bone and her foot size, that kind of reads true to her breed out here. Just really stout and dimensional. We like those things about her. And still has a proportional look from the side. In regards to her breeding functionality, I'd like to soften her up in her belly ever so slightly. More importantly, I'd maybe like to lay her back in the angle to her shoulder and knee, just to allow her to set into motion with more flex and freedom off both ends of her skeleton. But a really powerful heifer. Young man deserves a big round of applause. Nice entry.
Entering the ring is Tavon Taylor with his Charolais.
Another really nice single entry out here. Kind of can echo the same comments we had for the last female. Really stout, really powerful. This one actually has a larger foot size than the last one. I think she's built with more curvature and angularity there to her hind leg as well. I like those things about her. We're going to change her. She's a bit coarse at the base of her shoulder. We could soften her up and give her a more maternal sweep to her center rib and belly there, but love her power. Great job to this young lady. Let's give her a big hand.
We are now showing for your champion in reserve, Charlotte.
Good pair of females out here that are very representative of their breed's stoutness, power, and sheer growth that they're known for. We like both of these females for those reasons. I think the one on maybe my left, out of the second class, maybe is built with a little bit more slope to her shoulder, angularity of that hock and rear ankle, and we like that. The one to the right maybe is a touch longer and more extended about her neck, but I like the added functionality built in the female out of the second class structure. She's going to go ahead and be our champion for functionality reasons. Young man, you're going to be reserved. Congratulations.
Your champion in reserve, Charlotte, go to Tavon Taylor. Entering the ring at this time is Gwyneth Souter with her high percent spring yearling.
Very, very high quality single entry out here. When she stops and parks, she really looks like what we want them to in regards to a breeding female. She's got a big swoopy belly. She's one whose shoulder has the right kind of angle, and she has some curvature there to her front knee. We look at her rear hock and ankle. She has that curve there to her hock and that set to her pastern. That's going to allow her to be a long-lasting brood cow out in the pasture. If we're getting real critical of one, when she's set in motion, although she feels her track and pushes her ankles and has some flex to her hock and lower joints, she maybe wants to throw her hind leg outside of her body cavity there and maybe bring the point of her hock in ever so slightly. Even though she is a big, broody, big bellied heifer, she still cuts up just ever so slightly back to her rear rib and flank. I'm being highly critical of a very, very nice female. Young lady deserves a big round of applause on a job well done.
Entering the ring at this time is Addison Moran with her high percent junior Kiania yearling.
You guys keep bringing me really good single entries out here that could stand a lot more competition. From the side, we absolutely love this female in regards to just her look and her pattern. So feminine, refined, ladylike through her front third, but draws back with some stoutness from behind and still has some genuine dimension. My biggest critique on her is right behind her shoulder. She wants to concave just a little bit more in there to her forerib. I'd like to give her more genuine turn to her upper rib, give her a little bit more spread out of the backside of her shoulder. Maybe her neck attachment could be just a scotch higher. I'm being critical though. A very nice female who's functional and sound when set into motion. I love her look from the side. Let's congratulate this young lady on a job well done.
We are now showing for our champion in reserve, high percent Kiania. Entering the ring is Gwyneth Souter with her spring yearling and Addison Moran with her junior yearling.
Two very nice females, girls out here doing an excellent job getting shown. I think they have quite a few trade-offs. You can go back and forth on which one to use. The one out of our first class is probably a little bit more dimensional, bigger boned. She has a lot more turn to her upper rib cage and kind of exits her spine with just more true center dimension. You get behind her, she's the bigger pinned heifer of the pair. And with a big caboose comes a big engine. And she got a little bit more shoulder through her front third. We like to change that about her. Like I said in class, we maybe could drop her in her flank and she wants to throw that hind leg, but I still think it kind of aids her in feeling her track. And I think she feels her track a little bit more closely than the one in second or the one over here to my left out of the second class, who tends at times wants to get a little bit more up and down in the angle to her shoulder. And it kind of further exaggerates the fact that I believe she gets a little bit flatter right out of the base of her forerib. I'd like to open her up there in her cage and just see her get out and motor with just a little bit more length of stride and freedom off those rear two. Where I like that one is just how ladylike and attractive she is through her front third. I think she reads more like a heifer about her head and neck and the base of her shoulder, but I wish she matched that with true genuine rib and dimension. With that being said, I want to stick with structural integrity. I think we'd like to change them both structurally in one or two spots, but I think when you match one that's longer tracking and still has more power and rib, I think you got to land on the young lady out of our first class to be champion. Young lady out of our second class is going to go ahead and be reserve.
Your champion, high percent Kiania, went to Gwyneth Souter, and your reserve was Addison Moran. In the ring at this time is Tatum Rhodes with his low percent Kia.
I sound like a broken record, but again, a really good single entry out here that could stand a lot more competition. Big, bold, centered heifer who's got a lot of power and dimension to her, yet still looks like a lady about her head and neck, and we like that about this female. If I was gonna change her, I'd like to stouten her up in her foot size to maybe match how dimensional she is up high. She tends to almost have too much set to her hind leg when set into motion and kind of wants to camp that hind leg underneath herself. Maybe could smooth her up in her shoulder ever so slightly. I don't want to get too critical though on a female that puts a lot of good together, brings a lot of value to her as a brood cow down the road. Congratulations to this young man. Let's put our hands together for him.
We could make a big, loud, expensive promo to talk about our high school sports coverage. Instead, we'll let our coverage speak for itself.
Plenty of time for a catch and release, and
Oh, he drains it!
Right side, he pulls up for the three, he hits.
We're sitting on pins and needles, and it is good.
cherry picking on a hit she goes.
With the tomahawk finish.
Goes up, two-hand monster dunk.
Your home for Shaq Sports, C103, and Good Guys Radio TV.
At Southern Hills Community Bank, we take great pride in building strong relationships with our customers. We're dedicated to providing the best products and services to fit your needs, like checking and savings, home and auto loans, plus ATM and debit cards, online banking, bill pay, and mobile banking with mobile deposit. Visit southernhillscommunitybank.com or stop by any of our 8 convenient locations. We want to be your bank. Southern Hills Community Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender. Customer service with a difference.
Young men out here bring 2 very nice females, and I like that we have a couple more to at least compare them out here. I'm going to describe them both and then let you know which one I like to go ahead and win. Young man who leads our charge out here, bringing the black and white female, kind of motley faced looking thing, is just really swoopy bellied. I love her when he sets her into motion. She is just really flexible on that hock and rear ankle. I think she looks like a brood cow in the making, just really functional in her center body. She's maybe not as powerful as the one to my left, but I think for a female, she has more than enough power. I think she's built for the long haul in regards to her skeleton and her center body, and balances up fairly good as well. Young man to my left brings me just a stout female. She's big-footed, she's really big in her top, she's wide from behind, and still has a good look from the side. She's long-necked and fairly proportional and level down her top line. I read her as being a little bit more tucked up in her flank. She's a little bit tighter on that rear ankle when you watch her, when you set her in motion. We'd like to see her more flexible in her hock and rear ankle when we move her out and set her on the go. For those reasons, I'm going to go ahead and use the young man's more functional maternal heifer to start off the show. I'm going to use the more stout one to go ahead and be second in this particular drive. Both these young men are doing a great job. Let's give them a big round of applause.
We are now showing for your champion, low percent Kia. We have Tatum Rhodes, Chase McAllister,
Awesome breed we have out here in front of us. 3 good heifers that were brought in front of my eyes that I think all have value for being good producers later on down the road. Our more mature heifer out here is just bold-bodied and thick all the way throughout, yet still has a good look from the side. I actually like the shape of her skull and her head a scotch better than the motley-faced female. Like I said earlier, I wish she was a little bit bigger-footed relative to how much power she does have up high. When we get them out here comparing them, I think she reads a scotch straighter in her shoulder compared to the motley-faced heifer. The motley-faced heifer to my left, she's not the stoutest or maybe just the widest heifer we've ever seen in the world, but she has enough. She's big and broody in her middle. She's really sound in setting the motion. I think if we're studying cattle to want to last, 8 to 10 years, I think her skeleton, her body is what does it for me. I like these two out in front of me for me to be grand and reserve in this particular breed, but I like the motley-faced heifer the best. She's going to be our champion. The orange heifer is going to go ahead and be reserve.
Your champion and reserve low percent Kiania goes to Tatum Rhodes. Entering the ring at this time is Lacey Hauser with her Hereford Junior Calf. I need Rose Steigerwalt with your Hereford to the makeup ring, please. Rose Steigerwalt to the makeup ring with your Hereford. I also need first call for Lacey Hauser, Garrett Moran, Ashley Rogers, and Cody Sawyers for your maintainer heifers.
Another really nice single entry out here. Man, she is very level down her top line. Lots of length and extension there to her neck, and I still think she's fairly feminine about her head there. One that's got long-bodied as well and has some genuine expression to her muscle. I'd like to clean her up at the base of her shoulder there. She gets a touch coarse, bigger picture. I'd like to make her bolder ribbed and a little bit deeper belly. Just give her more of that brood cow look through the center portion of her body. But I do like her look in regards to her levelness and her length and extension. Let's congratulate this young lady.
We have Rose Steigerwalt entering the ring with her Hereford Senior Yearling.
Young lady brings us a nice female out here as a single entry. Big boned heifer that I think has some genuine width when you step in behind her. She's one that wants to toe out a little bit more up front and kind of come in at her knee. I like to clean her up in her chest and level her out from hooks to pins and just make her a little fresher in her overall appearance, getting a little bit more mature on us about her head, neck, and shoulder. But man, what a big-footed heifer. I love the set to her hind leg there. Awfully nice single entry to bring me out here. Let's put our hands together for her.
We are now showing for your champion in reserve Hereford heifer. We have Lacey Hauser with her junior calf, and Rose Steigerwald with her senior yearling. This is the second call for Garrett Moran, Ashley Rogers, and Cody Sawyers. First call from Maya Daniels and Mackenzie Moeller.
Two young ladies bring us some females that are representing their breed awfully well. Out of our younger division, we have a heifer who balances up awfully nice, and she's one that I think square about her front knee and feet. I like her skeleton when we set her into motion. She maintains a sense of levelness in her spine and out of her hip when we ask that one to go. I still think that maybe she's not the burliest heifer we've ever seen, but I think genuine stoutness and skeletal width is a little bit more apparent with her. Although we'd like to smooth her up in her shoulder and make her a little bit deeper, I like that she still balances out from front to rear on her lower body a little bit better. She's cleaner about her chest, and I still think she has a little bit more drop to her flank relative to her size. We have a more mature heifer over here that obviously has the performance advantage. I believe that she's genuinely larger in her foot size. I love the slope to her shoulder, and she's flatter about the base of her shoulder than the other one. I like the set to her hind leg. I'd like to readjust the way her front feet are built. She wants to toe them out and come in at her knee. She naturally wants to fall off from hooks to pins, and I'd like to see her, when you step in behind her, with more genuine power through the lower portion of her hip. She wants to flatten a little bit too much. I like to change her there. For me, I don't really like to size them out. I like to pick the ones that have the least amount of holes and the most amount of good. For me, that's young lady small heifer. She's going to be our champion. It's going to be a close reserve over here to my left.
Congratulations to Lacey Hauser on your champion Hereford, and reserve goes to Rose Steigerwald. Entering the ring at this time is Kinley Klein with her high Main-on-Jew junior calf.
Very, very nice single entry we have out here. Just a big-bodied heifer who's built right in her skeleton. Man, she paints a beautiful silhouette from the side that kind of we want to see. She's one that if we're going to get awfully nitpicky, I like her skeleton. We were going to take her to a national show or a bigger show than the county fair. You could maybe say we'd like her neck to be a couple inches longer. We maybe could dial her back in the angle to her shoulder. I don't want to be too critical. I think she might be my favorite we've seen so far. Awfully nice female to bring out here, young lady.
Entering the ring is Kinley Klein with her High Main Junior Yearling. Young lady brings us another really good single entry out here. So powerful and so bold in her center body. Just look at her foot size and going up, yet she still has the right type of angulation to her lower joints. If we're going to be a little bit more critical on her, I think she maybe has a scotch more crest there to the top side of her neck. The base of her shoulder gets maybe a little bit bolder for me, and I'd like to maybe make her flatter about their shoulder and way it attaches to the top side of her neck there. Really, really good heifer, and at the same time, I'd like to level her out of her tail head. I think when we set her into motion, that tail head wants to crank up a little bit more than ideal. I don't want to get too critical over though, because what a cool looking one from the side. Big, bold, powerful. Young lady brought us another good one. Let's put our hands together for her. We're now showing for our champion main on Jew. We have Kinley Klein and Kinley Klein.
What an awesome breed division we have out here with our mains, man. Two really, really good ones that I think can compete at the highest levels. And I think you guys should be happy to get to see these out here at the county fair. Out of our younger division, man, we just have one that's so ladylike and fun to look at from the side. She's got the right type of body progression back to her rear rib and flank. I just absolutely love her hip and hind leg and how just she's so long and level, yet man, she's got that right type of swoop there to her rear pastern sternum and ankle, and still doesn't sacrifice very much in regards to power and dimension. Comparatively, I love her front end a little bit more than the big one. She's flatter about the base of her shoulder. She's cleaner about her chest. We could make her a scotch or two longer about her neck, but I still think that her front end is a little bit higher quality than the bigger one. The bigger one is in consideration to win for her just genuine power. That is a bold-bodied one who's genuinely probably the biggest ribbed heifer we've seen so far. She is so stout when you step in behind her, but still maintains a really sound, flexible skeleton underneath. I'd like to change her tail head. I'd like to clean her up in her chest. She's got a little bit more crest there to the top side of her neck. Some guys come in here as a judge and want to just say, well, they're both good. Let's use the one with more performance. In my eyes, and I've always stuck true to this, I like to pick the ones that truly are the best in my eyes. For me, that younger heifer's better. She's going to be our champion. The older heifer's going to be reserved. Congratulations.
Your champion and reserve purebred main goes to Kinley Klein. Entering the ring at this time, we have our spring calf maintainer heifers, Garrett Moran, Ashley Rogers, and Cody Sawyers.
Three really nice females to start off the maintainer division. I think a different judge or a slew of different judges could come in here and jumble these up, but the one that puts the most good together and is the hardest to throw any rocks at is young man's right here in front of me. Man, she is so smooth about her shoulder. I love her head, neck, and her transition from her shoulder into her forerib. Her hip and hind leg are by far the best in this particular class. She's maybe not just broody through her middle, but man, she still has that right kind of swing sweep back to her rear rib and flank. I think she's just going to get better and better with time. For me, I think it gets close between 2 and 3. The heifer here in second, she's the highest performing, and by some margin, the stoutest and most powerful. Look at that foot size right underneath her, and you step in behind that heifer, and she kind of donkey stomps the other two in regards to genuine stoutness. With that power comes some extra coarseness. She's the coarsest about her shoulder and the most open about her shoulder. When we set her in motion, she wants to knuckle up on that rear ankle more than ideal. We'd like to change her there, and for those reasons, I stick her second. But I love her power, I love her dimension. I think if you can take her to a little smoother bull, she's going to be awfully good. Young man, maybe in 6 months, this heifer might put a whooping on both of them. She is so cool through her front third. I like that she has genuine power. She's so ladylike, but you step in behind her, man, she's got a big old pin set in her as well. My read on her today is that she's the most tucked up in her flank. I think she's the smallest in her foot size. I'd like to see her get out and flex that hock with a little bit more freedom. Very, very nice heifer. Let's congratulate those 3 exhibitors on a job well done.
We have Maya Daniels and Mackenzie Moeller entering the ring with their junior maintainer heifers. Results from the last class were Cody Sawyers, first place, Ashley Rogers, second place, Garrett Moran, third place. This is our first call for our purebred shorthorns. We need Etta Moore, Madeline Jodry. First call for the shorthorns, Etta Moore, Madeline Jodry.
Young ladies bring us 2 heifers. They're doing a good job getting them exhibited and shown out here. I think they have some trade-offs genuinely, and I think you could go back and forth between the 2. The one that looks like she needs to win is going to go ahead and do so. I love her depth of body. She's so much more broody about her middle. That's a big footed heifer, and we like all those things about her. When set into motion, she never wants to truly push that ankle into the ground. She always kind of wants to knuckle it up. She wants to naturally duck out of her pin set, and when you step in behind her, she's awfully fuzzy, but I believe she wants to flatten to the base of her stifle just a little bit more, but she wins on true foot size and dimension in her lower joints, and just the fact that she's the bigger bodied heifer of the 2. I think this heifer in second's rear ankle, although she's just maybe not squishy footed, I still think she takes a more comfortable step. I think she reads more feminine about her head, neck, and shoulder. Big picture, I gotta see her deeper body to move her up in this particular class. I'd also like to relax her in her tail head. I think it just gets a little bit too high and a little bit too out there for me at least. Good pair of heifers. Let's congratulate both those young ladies.
Results from that class for Mackenzie Moeller. First place, Maya Daniels, second place. Entering a ring at this time is Kinley Klein with her junior yearling. Maintainer heifer.
We all have individual needs when it comes to our prescriptions. Why not choose a pharmacy that offers personalized, friendly service that's also convenient? Health Source of Ohio pharmacies offer free prescription delivery within their service area, free shipping on your mail order prescriptions, auto refill, and more. Call 513-707-9900 or visit healthsourceofohio.org for more information. Stop by any of the pharmacy locations in Seaman, Mount Orb, or Batavia to meet the staff. Health Source of Ohio is proud to be the source for pharmacy in your community.
Our business is helping you grow. We're Baxter Tractor. We take care of you like family.
We've been growing since 1946. As your Kubota dealer, our focus is to help you grow today and into the future. Stop by one of our locations today, visit with our folks, and see our entire lineup of Kubota products.
Our business is helping you grow. Baxter Tractor.
Just in regards to her just being so big-middled, so correct in her skeleton, and she still balances up awfully good. Compared to a couple others, or maybe your other two, she's maybe not quite as cool about her head. She's maybe not quite as cool about her front third, but that's being critical because from front to rear, she balances up. Maternal function is where she absolutely dominates. Awfully good single entry out here. Let's hear it for this young lady.
We are now showing for champion and reserve maintainer heifer. We need Cody Sawyers, Mackenzie Moeller, and Kinley Klein in the ring.
This breed had 6 really good heifers out here, and I think that makes it fun when everyone you see has genuine quality and value out here. And when we bring them out here to pick for our champion out of that first class, that was a tough class. We had 3 of them that all were very nice. You could jumble them up. I thought this young man's had just the most attractive one from the side, and combined that with still the right type of skeletal quality and the right type of look from the profile. She's maybe a little bit more frail compared to both the heifers back behind her. She's maybe not as stout and powerful, but man, she looks like a lady. She looks like a show heifer, and still has the body and skeleton to go out and be a functional brood cow. The one in the middle is probably the most unique one. She is monster footed. She is really soggy bellied there. I like the way you have her presented. I'd like to correct her in her rear ankle and just let her relax and push that foot into the ground a little bit more. When we set her into motion, she wants to duck her pins and kind of keep her pin set and hind leg underneath herself. I'd like to make her more refined about her front third, but I'd be hard pressed to find one who has more genuine center body dimension. Out here, out of our last class, a single entry, I said she had brood cow stamped on her side, and when we bring the rest of our class winners out, that still rings true. Man, she is just so big-bodied, so correct in her skeleton, still really proportional. I said earlier, maybe she just doesn't have the most attractive show cow head on her, or maybe the most attractive front third, but that's being critical. That's going to be your champion today. Congratulations. I think you have some sort out here for reserve. We have a bolder-bodied, stouter dimensioned heifer. They're more different than they are alike. And then we have a more feminine, refined heifer who's really flexible on the go. I'm a stickler on structure, and I like to pick ones that are sound and flexible. I like the young man's heifer to go ahead and be reserved today. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Champion maintainer goes to Kinley Klein. reserve champion Cody Sawyers. We now have Etta Moore entering the ring with her purebred junior calf, Shorthorn. We need our Shorthorn Plus to the makeup area. First call for your Shorthorn Plus to the makeup area. Chase McAllister and Tatum Rose.
What a pretty little shorthorn heifer the young lady brought us out here. She is so feminine, refined. I mean, size for size compared to all the heifers we've seen, she might be the most extended in her neck of all the heifers we've had out here in the show. Really level-bodied. I'd like to make her wider, stouter, a little bit bigger footed to truly make her better, but still a female that presents a lot of quality from the profile. Let's give her a big round of applause.
We now have Etta Moore with her senior purebred shorthorn calf. Second call for our Shorthorn Plus to the makeup ring. Second call for our Shorthorn Plus to the makeup ring. Chase McAllister, Tatum Rhodes.
Young lady brings us another really nice single entry out here, very level topped and one that has some extension up front, maybe a little bit more stoutness to this heifer than your last one, but I'd like to see her more laid back in the angle to her shoulder. She gets it too straight in that rear leg for me. We could make her deeper bellied and just more soggy middle to give her more of a maternal appearance, but I like her levelness, I like her extension, I like her power. Young lady deserves another big round of applause.
Madeline Jodry entering the ring with her spring yearling.
Another good single entry out here. This one's got some good belly to her. I like the set to her hind leg. She's got a good curve there to her hock and some set to her rear ankle. Got a lot of performance in this one. I'd maybe say in just regards to a mature cow, she's maybe a nickel tall. I'd like to see her from behind, maybe carry her dimension a little bit further into her stifle and lower quarter there, but still one that has some belly, has some structural integrity. That's why we like this one, and the young lady deserves a big round of applause as well.
We are now showing for your champion in reserve purebred shorthorn. We need Etta Moore, and Madeline Jodry.
Three nice single entries, and once we bring them back out here together, we have quite a bit of sword, and a guy could justify maybe starting each one of these for different reasons. I'm just going to go through and talk them and then let you know which one I like to go ahead and be champion. Out of our first class, man, what a pretty little heifer, like I called her. She is so long-necked and so ladylike and refined about her head. I think she still has some swoop there to her belly. I think when we set them in motion, she's probably the soundest of the three. She feels her track and has some set to her rear ankle. I question to myself, does she have enough? Is she bold enough bodied? Is she stout enough footed? Does she have enough? Yes, she's the most juvenile one out here, but I question her growing capabilities because just she is a scotch too frail, but I still think her skeleton is one to take into consideration, and she's by far my favorite from the profile. The one out of the middle division certainly has more performance. She has more ribs. She has more muscle. That's a big-footed heifer who's leveled down her top line. Like we said in her single entry class, I read her to be a little bit more up and down in her shoulder and knee. I think she wants to kind of duck her pins just a little bit there. I think she needs to get out and move with just more flex and freedom. She wants to never really flex that hock quite like we want her to, but one that still has some look. She has the stoutness advantage in this particular lineup of shorthorn females. And out of our final division, the most mature one out here, it kind of shows. She's got the most belly, really big footed. I think she still balances up fairly well. For me though, when she step in behind her, she really wants to bring that point of her hock in fairly good. She gets a little bit more common about her head. From behind, she's not as genuinely stout as a couple of the others, and so I question that the young heifer. I say, well, does she have enough? Well, our more mature heifer is a lot older, but still kind of flattens to her base. I start weighing the odds and ends and trying to think, well, which one puts the most good pieces together, and which one has the problems that I can live with. Yet again, I'm out here to pick the best heifer. For me, that's going to be the young lady out of our first class. That's going to be our champion. We're going to use the young lady out of the last class to go ahead and be reserved. Congratulations.
Family meant everything to my father, Paul. Growing up in a small community with two hardworking parents, he learned at an early age just how important it is to help and protect others. That's what inspired him to establish Paul Hall & Associates Insurance. Protecting others. My father also believed that if he followed the golden rule and treated our customers as he wanted to be treated, he would build a successful business focused on the families and communities that we serve. He instilled this philosophy in each one of us here at Paul Hall & Associates, and his legacy lives on. We are Paul Hall & Associates, our family, ensuring yours.
At the Campbell Group of Sipsicline Realtors, they pride themselves on knowing the area that they're selling. And with more than 40 years serving as Ripley's own real estate agent, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more experienced team. Agent David Campbell and the Campbell Group specialize in southern Brown County river and farm properties. Call 937-392-4308 for the Campbell Group of Sipsicline Realtors, or visit their office at 908 South 2nd Street in Ripley.
Young man in the cowboy hat brings us a really nice Shorthorn Plus heifer out here. I think she's long-necked and level. She's one that has some expression there to her muscle. I read her as being a touch too straight in her hock. I think she has a little bit too much daylight underneath her. I'd like to make her deeper and soggier bellied, but I like her look. If you weren't here for showmanship, this young man was my reserve supreme. He can flat get one stuck out here. Let's give him a big round of applause on his single entry.
Tatum Rhodes entering the ring with his spring yearling Shorthorn Plus.
Really powerful blue roan heifer out here. I love her rib. I love her thickness all the way throughout her. She's got a big foot underneath her as well. We set her into motion, and she wants to struggle a bit more than ideal. She wants to raise her spine just ever so slightly and kind of keep her hind leg a little bit too far underneath herself. When we study her up front, maybe her shoulder's almost a little bit too wide, and we like to make her flatter and smoother, but I love her rib. I love her body. It'll be interesting to bring those pair of them out here in a few. Let's put our hands together for this young man.
We are now showing for our champion in reserve Shorthorn Plus. We have Chase McAllister with his junior calf, Tatum Rose with his spring yearling.
I think it's a really close decision out here for Champion Shorthorn Plus because I'd like to modify each of these females, and I think if we could combine parts and pieces of each of them and put the good together, then I think we'd have an awfully nice one. I'll let you know what I at least my read is on each of these. Young man brings this heifer out here in front of me. She is so long necked, she's attractive up front, she's significantly smoother about her shoulder and more correct in the way she moves out of her front skeleton when set in motion. I read her hock as being a touch too straight, and she is. However, when we do ask her to go, she is the structural advantage over the one out of the second class. My biggest problem with her is that she needs more depth. She's got too much daylight underneath her. I got to see her deeper body, so that's somewhat of a structural concern, but she really looks like a show heifer up front and has those parts and pieces that we like. Young man out of the second class brings me one that's significantly bolder bodied. She's significantly stouter and thicker, but I think it almost works to her detriment. She's too wide in her shoulder. She wants to paddle out of her front end when we set her into motion. She wants to throw that hind leg outside of herself in motion as well. So I have two heifers, one that's probably going to be a little bit too hard as a brood cow, and one that's going to be a structural concern as a brood cow. For me out here, I'm going back and forth in what we are. I really want to see which one is harder to make. For me, I think one looks a little bit more like a show heifer. One's just presented with a little bit more attraction from the profile. I'm going to go ahead and use the young man in the cowboy hat for a close winner. Young man to my left is going to be reserve.
Your Champion Shorthorn Plus goes to Chase McAllister. Your Reserve Shorthorn Plus goes to Tatum Rhodes. We will now show our Simmentals. We have Eli Beef and Brentley Long entering the ring with their spring calves.
Starting off the Simmental breed really strong. I'm going to place them how they walked in the ring. Young man's black heifer, man, she is so broody centered and just big bodied. When you set her into motion, she feels her track and is comfortable in her lower joints. She's maybe got a touch more chest and shoulder to her. I'd like to hammer her tail head down and make her smoother out of her hip, but it's hard to knock one that's that big bodied as a little heifer calf and still structurally sound. Very nice place to start. Young man over here to my left, that's a really expressively muscled heifer. I think she's probably got an inch or two more length and extension to her neck as well. For me, I think she needs to be softer in her center body to play with this one that beat you today. I read her as being a nickel straighter in her hock as well. I think she's one that has a little bit more grow pattern to her as well. I think she's going to be the larger heifer, later maturing heifer, so maybe in a few months she might go ahead and sog you up a little bit and we might switch that pair. Good pair of Simmental females. Let's put our hands together for both of those young men.
We now have Layla Beef entering the ring at this time, and Owen Beef with their junior calves. First place went to Eli Beef, second place went to Brentley Long.
Very, very close pair of heifers out here, and I wouldn't argue with you if you wanted to switch them, because I think they both have a lot of good traits about them and some things we like to change. I'm going to stick with structural integrity. I think we're going to start with a sounder heifer of the pair. I think she hits the surface with more flex to her rear ankle and her hock. She's one that just takes a longer, more comfortable stride when we set her into motion. She's also the more feminine heifer who offers more extension about her front third. She could be bolder ribbed and stouter made. They're heifer calves, and I think her structural integrity is built for the long haul and to be built for her to stouten up in the next couple of months. The stout heifer right now and today lies in second. Dark red female is bolder about her ribs. She's thicker about her pin set and from behind. For me, she's a touch coarser made about her shoulder. We ask her to go. She just never really wants to flex that pastern into the surface quite like we want them to. I'd like to clean her up about her head and neck and just make her more ladylike, but still a big, bold heifer. Going to be an awesome brood cow someday. Congratulations to both these two. Let's give them a big hand.
We're now showing for our champion purebred scimitar. We have Eli Beef and Layla Beef entering the ring.
Really nice pair of females out here. Out of our first class, we have just a broody, big-bodied one who just takes a big, comfortable step. She could maybe be leveled out in her tail head and just a little more freaky-fronted in regards to just being longer and prettier, but I definitely don't think that she isn't a balanced-up heifer, because she really proportions well from the side, and her extra body really helps her balance out from top to bottom. I like her an awful lot. One out of our last class that we just saw, so sound, so cool looking through her front third. She needs more power, she needs more rib, but for those reasons alone, I'm going to go ahead and use young man's black heifer to go ahead and be champion. We'll bring that second in behind that one. Let's give him a big round of applause.
I need Brentley Long to enter the ring.
I wanted to bring that second out because I think she has a lot of quality and definitely stands on her own out here when we're selecting for reserve. Very expressive, very powerful, still needs the body down in her middle, and I'd like to just make her relax in that rear ankle. I think she holds the edge in sheer rib shape up high and dimension. However, I'm going to stick with structure, and I'm going to go with young lady's heifer who just gets out and goes a little bit better. Let's congratulate both of those exhibitors for bringing us two nice ones.
Your reserve champion is Layla Beef.
ProGen's next-generation technology flooring is designed to stand up to the demands of modern life, and it's available now at the Winchester Carpet Outlet. Because ProGen is durable, waterproof, dimensionally stable, and easy to install, it can be used in any room, including rooms that are most prone to moisture and spills, like kitchens and baths. For top-quality flooring, service, and selection at prices that'll floor you, visit the Winchester Carpet Outlet, just off State Route 32 on Tri-County Road, just a few miles west of Winchester, Ohio, and online at winchestercarpetoutlet.com.
The leaves are changing, the weather's turning cooler, and Irwin Farms Corn Maze is now open. Come harvest a memory, get lost in the corn maze, and shop for all your fall decor. Mums, pumpkins, candlebear candles, and more. Come out September 30th as the Ohio Performance Dogs return to the farm. And don't miss the squash carver as he carves a 500-pound pumpkin. Irwin Farms and Corn Maze, located at 1365 Coon Hill Road in Winchester. Open Monday through Friday 10 to 6, Saturday 10 to 9, and Sunday noon to 6.
Really nice pair of them here at the top end of the class. They're more different than they are alike, but we're going to stick with structural integrity out here. And man, this heifer is just so fluid and flexible when you set her into motion. We love her look through the front third of her skeleton there. She is just pencil necked, yet still draws back into a big rib and a big belly. She's not quite, she's maybe a little bit green today compared to the one there in second. Maybe not as enough rib, not enough power, but her foundation reads that she's going to grow into that, and I like that she's the sounder heifer, and projecting them down the road, I think she's going to continue to maintain that sense of quality when we set her into motion. That's why I use her to win. When they're parked and when they're put on the side, the one here in second looks like she needs the win. That heifer is power, 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 and just so thick. I think her color pattern even aids to her look from the side. We like that about her. Big rib, big and stout. She never really wants to flex that hock, and when you see her set into motion, she wants to throw that hind leg outside of herself. You study her up front in the front view, she's too wide in her shoulder and coarse and round about her shoulder. We got to put her shoulder more inside of her body. We got to see that hind leg stay squarer and truer when we put her into motion. But a really powerful, bold-bodied female. I would be proud to drag her around the show ring. One here in third, the same thing can be said on being proud to drag her around the show ring, because that's a nice heifer to go ahead and be third at your county fair. Ultra feminine, ultra refined. She's got a good presence and look from the side. I read her as just being the greenest in her rib. She needs to have more depth of body for me. She plants her hot too straight as well in combination with that. So functionality wise, I think she slides into the third hole for me. Let's give those three kids a big round of applause on a job well done.
We have Piper Anderson, Bailey Joy Davis, and Mackenzie Moeller entering the ring with their junior calf. Results from the last class: first place, Kinley Klein; second place, Eli Beeth; and third place, Maya Daniels.
Three nice heifers out here. I think the one who offers a combination blend of having some dimension and still some structural integrity is the one we're going to start off with. By some margin, at least compared to the one in second, she's significantly bolder ribbed and stouter made, but still combines that with a sense of quality from the side. She's not maybe as whistle fronted or as feminine as the one in second, but is she still feminine? Yes, she is. She's maybe not as flexible in that rear hock and ankle as that one in second, but is she still sound? Yeah, she is. I'd like to clean her up in her chest and on the crest of her neck. Maybe at times she wants to knuckle up on an ankle maybe every 5 or 10 steps or so, but I still think she offers the best combination out here. The one from the side, I thought maybe could win this thing just in regards to her femininity. She's got the right type of swoop in there to the middle portion of her belly there. I like those things about her. She's sound when you set her in motion. We've used some narrower cattle to not sacrifice structure. We've used some maybe flatter cattle to maybe not sacrifice some coarseness. For me, she takes it just a little bit too far. I really got to see her oar opened up in her forerib. I got to see her with more true dimension. But man, I love her belly. I love her femininity and refinement through her front third. Real nice third place heifer here. She has more rib than the one that beat her. She has more stoutness than the one that beat her. For me, she comes in a few more pieces. I think she's maybe a little bit more out in her shoulder. That tail head wants to rise up her in a little bit more. She doesn't quite fill her track, and I'd like to see her push that ankle down into the ground with a little bit more comfort, but still very, very nice third place heifer out here. Let's give those three young ladies a big round of applause.
We have Layla Beeth and Taylor Neal entering the ring with their summer yearling heifers.
two females that represent a lot of quality out here. I saw this young lady in showmanship. I believe she was 5th or 6th with this female out here, and I really liked her then, and I really liked her now. She's just hard to throw many holes at, or throw many rocks at. She's bold-bodied. She got the right type of swoop to her belly. She's stout. She's sound. She's good-looking. Maybe she doesn't have the wow factor through her front end. Maybe she doesn't have the wow factor in regards to foot size. She's not maybe the swoopiest bellied heifer in this competition, but still one that's got a lot of completeness to her. I think she's a nice class winner out here. Young lady out here in second brings me a female that has more lateness and maturity. That's a taller, longer bodied heifer who has more extension through her front third. She's one that I read her to be a little bit flattered there in her forerib. I'd like to open her up from behind and just give her more true dimension. Good pair of heifers. Let's put our hands together for both those young ladies.
We have Avery South entering the ring with her spring yearling. Results from the last class: first place, Taylor Neal; second place, Layla Beeth.
Young lady brought us a really powerful heifer out here for us to look at. She is so round-bodied and so thick when you step in behind her. I think she's one that could be a bull maker when you throw her out into the pasture, but it comes at somewhat of a cost. I believe she reads just a nickel more up and down than her shoulder. She wants to round from hooks to pins, but we like her power. She has a great start to her udder underneath as well. I think she'll be a nice producer for you. Let's give this young lady a nice hand for a good single entry.
We will now be showing for our champion in reserve percentage scimitar. Entering the ring, we have Kenley Klein, Mackenzie Moeller, Taylor Neal, and Avery South. In the makeup area, I need Gwyneth Souter, Ella Scott, Gabriel Scott, and I also need Katie Brasso in the makeup area.
I don't know if my favorite heifer of the show was out here in front of me, but I know by far this is the toughest breed we've seen to date. These young ladies have brought us some really good ones. There's some good seconds sitting in their stalls or in the makeup area. Awfully good set of Simmentals out here. And out on the far right, that heifer is just so cool up front. We set her in motion. She feels her track and has some good flexibility to her. Big swoopy bellied. She's maybe not most open in her forerib. She's the most juvenile heifer, and I take that into consideration that, you know, she has time, and I don't think you see this breed built like that through their front third very, very often. The one out of our second class, man, she's just kind of staple of the breed. She is big and stout and broody and does a lot of things good. I think comparatively, we'd like to make her a bit longer about her neck, a little bit smoother about her shoulder. Maybe that hot gets a little bit straight from time to time, but man, she is so big bodied, pound for pound or size for size. Her middle is as good as any. And this one out of this third class, she's so hard to throw mini rocks at. She's complete, she's smooth from the side. When we start comparing her maybe to another one, I think she reads maybe a touch straighter in her shoulder. I don't think she's straight, but I think you got to start comparing when they're out here. I don't think she quite feels her track good enough. Good Lord didn't bless her with a whole lot of hair, and I think what you see is what you get. I like that about her. But I think that she needs to be more laid back in her shoulder. I think that she needs to fill her track a little bit more. And the big, stout behemoth of a heifer out of our last class is so powerful and broody and stout. We just like to clean her up about her shoulder and level her up about her hip as well. I think it comes down to a pair of them for me. There's some really good seconds in the barn that I am thinking about in my mind, but I think my champion reserve come out in front of me. Again, I think it's my job to pick my favorites and the most fault-free ones, and which ones are the hardest to make for their breed. The hardest one to build for this breed's young lady's motley-faced one. Young lady out of the third class is going to be reserved. Congratulations.
Your champion was Kinley Klein, and your reserve was Taylor Neal. We now have Gwyneth Souter entering the ring with an AOB spring calf.
Our beliefs matter. They're reflected in our words and actions. At First State Bank, we believe in treating people well, and we've been doing just that since 1884. Listening, caring, looking out for each other. It's what people deserve. It's what a real local bank does. While lots of things have changed over the years, our belief in the people of this community hasn't. First State Bank, built on belief. Member FDIC.
Are you worried about health insurance? Are you losing Medicaid? Do you have questions about Medicare? You want to cover your employees? Or just concerned with protecting your family? Then call me. I'm Tim McEwen, your local health insurance specialist. 937-379-1735 or online at timformedicare.com. That's Tim, the number 4, Medicare.com. Again, 937-379-1735.
More than a century of service. Let that sink in for a moment. For more than 100 years, since 1908 and through 4 generations of family-owned business, Georgetown Marble and Granite has stood firm in our community. They've helped thousands of families pay their respects and have memorialized so many lives gone, but not forgotten. When that difficult time comes, Georgetown Marble and Granite will be there to assist you too. Visit their location on East North Street in Georgetown or call 937-378-6314.
Good pair of heifers out here that has some trade-offs. The one we're going to start off with, I think her front end assembly is just a little bit more correct. She's flatter and smoother at the base of her shoulder and where she attaches at the top side of her neck. I think that when we're studying them on as a 2-year-old heifer and a 3- and 4-year-old cow, I just think that front end assembly is a little bit more appropriate with maternal function. I think she reads with a little bit more depth of body as well. She's maybe not the tallest fronted one or the most freaky fronted one, but the other one tends to run downhill, and I think this one's very proportional. I like that about her. We'd like to correct her on her rear ankle from time to time. She wants to knuckle up a little bit more than ideal, maybe raising her spine, but her front end assembly is what gets the job done. Heifer, that's going to go ahead and be second. Stout, stout, stout. She's powerful and big bone. Kind of comes with the territory again that she's a little bit too coarse in her shoulder for me. I'd like to see her flatter and smoother there. When we set her in motion, I'd like to see her relax her lower joints and just get out and motor with a little bit more flex to that rear ankle and hock. Let's put our hands together for both of those exhibitors exiting the ring.
We now have Katie Brassel entering the ring. We need the first class of cross-blood heifers to be making your way to the makeup ring. Colt Gaskins, Isabella Spires, and Peyton McAllister.
I always think little kids and mini Herefords are really cute and fun to judge. Young lady brings us a nice one that has some power and dimension to her. She needs to be more feminine about her head. She needs to be smoother about her shoulder. She needs a little bit of an attitude check as well, but young lady never gives up. Let's give her a big round of applause.
We now have Tatum Rhodes entering the ring with his heifer. We need Isabella Spires and Peyton McAllister to the makeup ring, please.
Nice single entry out here, big-footed, stout-made heifer who's just jacked full of power from her nose all the way to her tail. She's got a lot of power made into her. I think she would put a whooping on the boys in a market heifer competition. Out here in the breeding show, I think she needs to be more feminine about her head, neck, and shoulder. She wants to turn those front feet out just a little bit more than ideal. I need to see her a little bit deeper bellied and softer flanked, maybe to call her just an exceptional breeding heifer, but I like her stoutness, I like her power. You got her fitted up really nice, young man. Let's give him a big round of applause.
We are now showing for our champion in reserve AOB. We have Gwyneth Souter, Gabriel Scott, Katie Brassel, and Tatum Rhodes. First call for our second class of cross-blood heifers. We need Leah Patchell, Rose Stiggerwalt, and Lena Zermely.
AOB division saw a lot of different breeds out here, representatives of breeds, and some real good ones. Out of our last class, we saw that heifer just having some power and dimension. I'd like to see her more ladylike up front and softer middled. Young lady's mini Hereford just needs to be more feminine, but she really has a lot of stoutness to her. Young man on the second class, that one has some body to her. She won that class because she's smoother shouldered and neater up front. Maybe relative to another one, could be a little bit softer in her spine or more relaxed in her spine, a little bit softer in that rear ankle, but still a real nice female out here. One right in front of me. She's swoopy bellied, she's cool looking, she's fun to look at. That's going to be our champion today. Young man out of the second class, that's going to be our reserve. Let's give him a big hand.
Your champion AOB goes to Gwyneth Souter. Your reserve champion AOB is Gabriel Scott. We now have Class 1 of our crossbred heifers entering the ring. Colt Gaskin, Isabella Spires, Peyton McAllister. We need Leah Patchell, Rose Steigerwalt, Lena Zermely to the makeup ring. This is our first call for Class 3 crossbred heifers. Cameron Hardy, Lena Zermely, and Jace McKenzie.
Good way to start off the crossbreds. Easy and obvious winner with the young man here in the red in front of me. This Baldy heifer's got genuine power built into her, yet still looks awfully cool from the side. She maybe wants to catch that rear ankle up from time to time and not truly flex it out. I call her sound enough, and she's the one who still looks like a show heifer. She kind of blows them away in regards to rib shape and sheer dimension. 2 and 3 get really close. I like the mobility of the one here in second. I like the depth of body and turn to the rib of the one to second a little bit more. Compared to our winner, she's a little bit narrow chested. She needs to be opened up in her cage and just be stouter from behind. But from the profile, she looks like a show heifer. She's big bodied and cool fronted. That's why we're gonna go ahead and put her 2. I think it's close because the one here in 3 is more powerful when you step in behind her. That heifer's got a lot of dimension and expression down her top line and through her pin set and lower quarter. Her neck is a mile long. I just wish she matched her power up high down low. She's too frail footed for me. She never really wants to relax that rear hock and ankle, and she's kind of fighting you today, but she never really wants to just get out and plant that foot right where it needs to be. Really nice heifer to go ahead and be 3rd. Let's put our hands together for all 3 of those exhibitors.
It's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
In court, like in baseball, you want a judge to call things down the middle. Experience matters. That's Michelle Harris. As a magistrate, she has the most judicial experience. Michelle Harris has the most experience as a prosecutor. Michelle Harris is the only candidate with experience doing jury trials. Michelle Harris, experience we can trust. Vote Michelle Harris for judge.
Paid for by Harris for judge.
Who is Barry Chevrolet? Why don't you ask your friends and neighbors? Because after 70 years and 4 generations in the automotive industry, odds are we've made a happy customer out of somebody you know. Hard-working, proud Americans drive Chevrolets, and that's why we sell them at Barry's. Hats off to everybody driving a Silverado truck. You're my kind of people. Barry Chevrolet, your best deal dealer.
Nice class out here in the crossbreds. Young ladies heifer we're going to start off with, I think just reads the most maternal in her center body. She's got more depth and swoop to her belly than the one there in second. Love her feminine refined front third, and when you set her into motion, she feels her track and is awfully comfortable. She's one that it gets maybe just a scotch short out of her hip. She's not the most powerful female we've ever seen, but still a really nice class winner to go ahead and win a class here at your county fair. One here in second's really interesting. She's big-footed. She's really powerful from behind. She's level down her top line. I like to see her with more drop to her belly there in the center portion of her. When you look at her from the side, from her chest to her flanks, a straight line. And I like to see her with more depth. I like to see her sounder, more flexible out of her hock and her ankle when we set that one in motion. But I like her power. I like her foot size. Cool colored one here in third that's got a lot of extension through her front end, very feminine and refined through there. She just needs more true rib, muscle, and stoutness of feature to go ahead and move up any higher in this particular class. Good set of 3. Let's give them all a big hand.
Entering the ring is Class 3 of our crossblood heifers, Cameron Hardy, Lena Zermely, and Jace McKenzie. Results from Class 2. Rose Steigerwald, Lena Zermely. First, Rose Steigerwald. Second place, Lena Zermely. And third place, Leah Patchell. Jacqueline Jodry, first call for Jacqueline Jodry, Class 5 crossblood heifers.
Another good class with females, all of them out here, very high quality. The one that's just the most maternal, the one that's the most feminine, the one that looks like the show heifer is going to win this particular class. Above and beyond, she's the most feminine and refined female out here who's just so pretty through her front third. But I think where she wins it is when we set them into motion. She maybe at times doesn't want to set that rear ankle into the ground quite like she should, but I think she's the longest stepping heifer in this class, who's the flattest and smoothest about her shoulder and maintains some her front skeleton is a lot squarer when we set her out to go. We'd like to maybe advance her in her foot size to maybe make her a more convincing win. The one here in second, that's where we start bringing her into the conversation. She's bold-bodied. She's really thick-ended. I love her foot size. When we set her in motion, she never really wants to flex that hind leg really good. She gets a little bit more up and down in her shoulder and knee for me. That's where I like to change that one. And on a comparative note, although this heifer still reads really refined about her front third, maybe she's not quite as cool about the front third of her body as our class winner. One here in third is pound for pound, one of the stoutest and widest heifers we've seen all evening. That's a big-backed one who's got a lot of power when you step in behind her. I think it comes with the territory that she just needs to get out and move with more freedom. She comes a few inches short of filling her track. We'd like to smooth her out in her tail head. I just like to see her get out and go with more comfort. Great class. Let's put our hands together for all three of those kids.
Class 4 is entering the ring. Addison Moran, Jace McKenzie, and Tavon Taylor. Results from Class 3. First place, Cameron Hardy. Second place, Lena Zermely. And third place, Jace McKenzie.
Another nice set of crossbreds out here. really cool colored one that's going to go ahead and win this particular class. She wins when the young man asks her to lead. She's by far the soundest and most comfortable in her hock and rear ankle. She's built with more flex to that hind pastern, and it really just allows her to get out and cover her track. She's longer hipped than the one that's there in second, and I think that kind of enables her to get out and motor awfully good. She's one that still balances up from the side awfully well compared to maybe a perfect one. We could maybe see her boulder about her forerib, maybe level her out in regards to her pin set or make her taller at the point of her shoulder, but still an awfully nice class winner to go ahead and win this particular class. Red Heifer I thought was going to go ahead and win it. She's probably a little bit softer in her middle. She's one that's real cool about her front third. She wants to duck her pins when you set her in motion, and she's one that maybe gets a little bit outside of herself in her shoulder when we set her in motion as well, or a little bit off behind her shoulder. She never really wants to cover that track or flex that ankle when we ask her to go, but one that's big, swoopy bellied. I like her femininity through her front third. Oh man, brings me another powerful heifer out here. I like her length and extension up front. I just think she has too much daylight underneath her, and I want to see her deeper bodied and sounder off both ends of her skeleton. Good class. Let's put our hands together for all three of those exhibitors.
We now have Jacqueline Jodry entering the ring, Class 5 crossblood heifer. Results from Class 4 crossblood heifer. First, Tavon Taylor. Second place, Addison Moran. And third place, Jace McKenzie. In the makeup area, we need Peyton McAllister with his first place heifer from Class 1, Rose Steigerwalt with her first place from Class 2, Cameron Hardy from Class 3, and Tavon Taylor from Class 4.
Really nice heavy bred single entry out here. Big-footed and stout-made female is a great way to describe her. Ultra broody and still has a sense of quality from the side. We could maybe make her a little longer hipped. I think for a big, mature cow, she gets a little bit short about her rump structure there for being one that's heavy bred. We maybe expect her to be a scotch deeper flanked, but that's being highly critical of one that balances well from the side, still really broody in her middle. Very, very nice single entry. It'll be fun to bring her back in a few moments.
I need Cameron Hardy in the makeup area, please. We are now showing for our champion crossblood heifer. From Class 1, Peyton McAllister. Class 2, Rose Steigerwalt. Class 3, Cameron Hardy. Class 4, Tavon Taylor. And Class 5, Jacqueline Jodry. We now need all of our champion and reserves from our breeds to make their way to the makeup area. All champion and reserves from our breeds to make their way to the makeup area. Angus, Rose Steigerwalt. High Percent Key, Gwyneth Souder. Charlet, we need Tavon Taylor for his champion and reserve. Reserve, Addison Moran, High Percent Key. Tatum Rhodes with our low percent key, champion in reserve. Lacey Hauser, champion Hereford. Rose Steigerwalt, reserve champion Hereford. Kinley Klein, champion and reserve champion Maine Anjou. Kinley Klein, champion maintainer. Cody Sawyers, reserve champion maintainer. Etta Moore, champion shorthorn. Madeline Jodry, reserve champion shorthorn. Champion shorthorn plus, Chase McAllister. Tatum Rose, reserve champion shorthorn plus. Eli Beeth, Scimitar, reserve champion Scimitar. Layla Beeth. Kinley Klein.
Nice set of crossbred females out here across the line from our youngest division to our oldest. Really good females out here that represent a lot of quality. I'm not going to talk each and every one of them. I think there's a few of them out here for consideration for the champion heifer, and those are the three right in front of me out of our last class. The one here in our middle is just probably the best presented female. She's the most attractive from the side. She is really good and fun to look at. She gets a little bit small about her rear ankle. She's maybe could be bolder about her forerib. At times, she doesn't want to maybe flex that pastern quite like she should, but I'm being critical of a heifer that's still very, very sound when we set her in motion. Ultra, ultra cool to look at. I like this painted up heifer. I like her when we set her in motion the best. She takes a long, comfortable stride. She's squishy footed. She's got some genuine power to her. Like I said in class, we could open her up in her forerib, maybe level her out of her hip in regards to her tail head to make her a little bit better. And then our heavy bred heifer, she is so wide, she is so thick, she is so maternal, yet still handles that hind leg awfully good. I was wondering what it was going to shake out to when we bring them back out here, but I think for being that heavy bred and still really cool, I like the heavy bred heifer to go ahead and be champion. I like the heifer out of our middle class, this young lady here right in front of me, for reserve.
Jacqueline Jodry is your champion crossblood. Cameron Hardy is your reserve champion.
When you're trying to find the best deal on a home or car, you shop around. When it comes to finding the best deal for insuring those things, it just makes sense to shop around too. That's why Column Insurance works as an independent agency. One agency, multiple carriers, allowing your agent to shop for the company that best fits your needs and budget. Column Insurance works with Nationwide and Nationwide Agribusiness, Travelers, Progressive, and more. Stop by Column Insurance in Georgetown to speak to their friendly agents, Jay, Carolyn, or Stacy, or call 378-6947 for a free quote today.
We could make a big, loud, expensive promo to talk about our high school sports coverage. Instead, we'll let our coverage speak for itself.
Plenty of time for a catch and release, and
Oh, he drains it!
Right side, he pulls up for the three, he hits.
We're sitting on pins and needles, and it is good.
cherry picking on a hit she goes.
With the tomahawk finish.
Goes up, two-hand monster dunk.
Your home for Shack Sports, C103, and Good Guys Radio TV.
At Southern Hills Community Bank, we take great pride in building strong relationships with our customers. We're dedicated to providing the best products and services to fit your needs, like checking and savings, home and auto loans, plus ATM and debit cards, online banking, bill pay, and mobile banking with mobile deposit. Visit SouthernHillsCommunityBank.com or stop by any of our 8 convenient locations. We want to be your bank. Southern Hills Community Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender. Customer service with a difference.
We are now showing for our Supreme Heifer. We have Rose Steigerwald with her Angus, Tavon Taylor with his Charolais, Gwyneth Souter with her Key, Tatum Rhodes, Lacey Hauser with her Hereford, Kinley Klein with her Maine, Kinley Klein with her Maintainer, Etta Moore with her Shorthorn, Chase McAllister with his Shorthorn Plus, Eli Beath with his Scimitar, Kinley Klein with her Percentage Scimitar, Gwyneth Souter with her AOB, Jacqueline Jodry with the Crossblood.
What a fun female show. I think the quality runs deep. We had some seconds, thirds, and further on that were very, very high quality. I would be proud to be from Brown County if I were you guys. And if you didn't make it out here, you can look around the ring and at least you got beat by good ones. Growing up, my dad always told me you can't really be upset if you get beat by a good one, and I can tell you there's a lot of quality standing all the way around me in this particular ring. I'm not going to go through and talk each and every one of them because we have a lot of really good seconds that are coming in as well. I'm going to talk a few of the ones that I think are in consideration. The Key right here in front of me, big, maternal. I like the set to her hind leg. We could drop her in her flank and smooth her up in her shoulder to make her better. This heifer right here in front of me in the corner's got an attitude problem. I think it's because she knows she's that good. She's so big belly. She's great in her structure. She is awesome to look at from the side. I think she's one to beat out here. The motley-faced heifer young lady showed right behind her is just a brood cow in the making. She is big, big bodied. She is perfect in her skeleton. She's not as fancy through her front third as some of these others, but man, I love her skeleton. I like just the way she's built. She gets a lot of things done out here. Young man with the motley-faced heifer out here, that one's big, sloopy belly. She's sound and comfortable. comfortable. I like to maybe change her head just a little bit. I like to correct her in her tail head, but a nice one nonetheless. Young lady Simmental that we brought out here is one for that breed is awfully hard to make. She is so feminine and refined through her front end. She is extremely sound and flexible. She's an awfully bit green today. We could soften her up in her flank just ever so slightly. We could give her more power and punch when we step in behind her, but a very, very good one nonetheless. And then out of this next AOB division, man, that one's really, really fun to look at. She's one of the more feminine heifers out here that's flat and smooth in her shoulder, yet you step behind her and you still have true and genuine dimension in her. That's how I like them to be built. And yet from the profile, man, she has the right type of set there to her hind leg and set there to her ankle. I think her and another one are playing hard to get out here, and I think both of them are making a run for my money, at least to try and win this particular thing. And then out of our crossbred division, a big heavy bred heifer out here, probably the most mature one in this lineup, but she handles it so well for being that big. She's still fresh about her chest. She's still good in regards to her feet and legs. She's maybe not quite as deep flanked as ideal for one being that heavy bred. She can maybe be a little bit longer in her rump structure to make her just a little bit better. I'm going to put the mic down and go select our champions out here in the heifer lineup. But wow, 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 it's been a lot of fun to work with your guys' female exhibitors out here. Before I go and select our champion, I think all of these heifer exhibitors deserve a huge round of applause.
Champion goes to Kinley Klein with her mane. Kinley Klein, we need you to bring your reserve mane in the ring, please. Reserve champion goes to our AOB exhibitor, Gwyneth Souter. Gabe Scott, please bring your AOB reserve champion in.
We bring that reserve mane in. We bring that reserve mane in behind our champion, and in that division, we talked about it being close because she's got more performance, she's got more body and rib to her. I like that one an awful lot. We could change her tail head in motion. Her front end wasn't just quite as crazy as that one that went ahead and won it. But I'm going to put the mic down and just start picking 3 through 5. One more time, let's hear it for all of our heifer exhibitors out here.
Third overall goes to our reserve champion mane, shown by Kinley Klein. Fourth overall goes to our champion maintainer, exhibited by Kinley Klein. Entering the ring, we have Cody Sawyers. 5th overall goes to Percentage Scimitar, exhibited by Kinley Klein. Feeder calf show will start at 6:20. The feeder calf show will start back at 6:20.